Okay, what an entirely crazy week of all things Impact. I don't even know where to start. That's why this episode will probably be a little bit extended from my usual one topic. We got a lot to cover. So without further ado, we're going to jump into things right now, folks. And what's up, everybody? It's Najir, along with Miranda Morales of thechairshot.com. We're here for our weekly Impact Wrestling weekly hot topic. And in usual fashion, we will pick our one hot topic to discuss.
Can we pick one? Well, how did we do it this week?
Not possible. So
not possible.
We're debunking our whole plan and strategy, and we're going to really kind of recap all of the things that happened this week, because this was an entirely insane weekend of Impact Wrestling. Their world changed, and so did ours, because a lot of things went down. Slammiversary was nuts. I got to say this too before I go any further. Is although I'm happy for fans to be back, I'm not happy that now match results and tapings get leaked.
You know what? That's such a good point, that now we are starting to see that pop back up online, and I choose to read them, but I do not choose to to discuss them out loud yet. Wait when the time is right to discuss them. But yeah, that too is, I guess a little bit of a negative coming out now of having fans back at events.
Hold on real quick. Damien, I love you, brother. With a donation this morning. I appreciate it. Look, you all watch Impact, so I don't have to. Hey man, look, that's the thing. We give you the recaps, we give you the hot thing. If you are a avid Impact enthusiast, then you're going to check out the whole thing. But if you're just trying to figure out what's going on to keep updated, because there's so much wrestling going on, so you can't fault anybody who just can't watch everything. So that's why we're here, to make sure we can tell you the things that you need to check out. We got so much to cover, though, but I really do hate the fact that now tapings are being leaked as far as results and whatnot. And not only are they just being leaked in a sense of leaking, there's a form of novelty with people saying guess what, folks? I done leaked everything, and here's what's happening. It's
I know. I mean, we haven't had it for so long, really, with many. There's so much happening that you cannot open these every way to know what's next.
Yeah. I think she
not spoil anything.
I think you're breaking up just a little bit there, Miranda. I don't know if anybody's in the chat is also seeing this. Looks like she's breaking up just a little bit. I definitely want to hear your points there. See if we can get her back. Yeah, until Miranda, we can work on the connection issue real quick. I'm excited for fans to be back. I'm excited for the live audiences. I'm excited for that whole experience and whatnot. But yeah, people leaking things, I'm not fond of. Let's see, we got you back here. So all right, we saved her. Someone save Miranda. Miranda, are you saved? We'll work it out, folks. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. Let's. We need hashtag save Miranda to trend right now because we can't do the show without her. That's the important thing. Hashtag live show, folks. Hey, Damien, man, in a minute, you're going to end up coming in here working some IT till we can get this all situated. All right, let's see what we got now. See if we can get her back in here soon, folks. We do apologize for the little hiccups that we got. All right. Miranda's back. Miranda, are you there with me?
I'm here.
You are here. You can't be heard. All right, folks, we do apologize for the quick little hiccup. Miranda's back. See, that's just how crazy this week is. Miranda Connections also attesting to that. I don't know where to go. I mean, let's go down to the match results really quickly. See, it's got to be me now. Let's go to the match results really quickly from Slammiversary, which was fantastic. Or should we start with this? Let's start with this. Of all the matches, no, let's also start with this. Predictions that we made the previous week. What predictions of your choices, what your picks did you see come to fruition? Which was the ones that you were just like, yep, nailed it?
Well, it does seem, I mean, the women's championship match, the knockouts championship match, I think we knew regardless of whoever was coming out down that ramp wasn't going to beat the knockouts champion, and that did not happen. But I also think kind of in duel with your prediction, we did see Mickie James come out, not in the way that we thought, but in a pretty strong way.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have never guessed Thunder Rosa, who just now signed to AEW, being the person here, because she does check a lot of the boxes, but she didn't have the lineage in Impact and the connection with Gail Kim that made it worth something for everybody. Mickie James still checks all the boxes, even to Access Impact on AXS TV, where they came out together, or sort of together, where it's just like there's an understanding here. So I definitely was like slightly right there on that note, but still I thought they handled that match and everything going forward appropriately. Debbie Morrissey and Eddie Edwards.
Yes.
That was the match I said I would enjoy the most, and I did. Debbie Morrissey showed up. There has been reports saying that he signed a short-term deal, and that's right, because he's had the medical issues, he's had the image issues and whatnot. But while he continues to work by his own means and by the reasons and motivations where his promos are being derived from, and now we see his work ethic in the way we see him, he will earn that big contract at some point. And I think he's working on all cylinders, and I think he looks super impressive. Eddie Edwards is exactly the person I thought he would be, and a person who can work with anybody, who really makes somebody looks really good. But Morrissey also held his own. So that was just the match that I was just like, this is absolutely the most solid match of the entire night. It did everything I needed it to do, and I was overly pleased by it. So, that was definitely my prediction that came to fruition, that not that I wanted to be right about everything, but that I was super satisfied. Like they absolutely handled this the way it should. I am going to go back down the card. So we're going to go to the pre-show match with DK versus Fire and Flavor. We see DK now becoming the women's knockouts tag team champions, and I was super surprised about this happening. But I think we all know why it happened now, right?
Yes. You just don't know until you know. And that is kind of a surprise. They are a solid tag team.
her connection today is definitely not well. We'll get this fixed. We will get through this. Are you there? Hello, Damien.
Look, y'all, just in case we save Miranda, hashtag Miranda, I will be glad to discuss Impact.
In celebratorial reasons, I think this is good. Damien G here of the Big Gold Belt media and podcast. Miranda is having a little bit of connection, but we will push through with this show. To the point I'm bringing up with Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan, Fire and Flavor, I think we unilaterally across the board can say is one of the most exciting yet must watch stables, tag team, entertainment, wrestlers, everything of that sort
for that whole division.
Yeah, even the show period. Like when they first formed, I'm a huge fan of the two of them. When they first formed, it absolutely worked. I talked to Tasha not too long ago, talked about it happening. I know about how it was pitched. I know about why they wanted to go forward with it and all of that. And it's the most organic thing, period. So it just works. The interesting thing about this is that for them, you would think with something so pivotal, so much watch, it's a lot of positives with them that you say, well, why would they drop the titles here? Come to find out, yeah. But come to find out, Kiera Hogan is getting ready to hey Miranda, welcome back. Kiera Hogan is going to be exploring her options here.
Apparently.
And I'm not mad at her for that.
No.
But I am a little bit upset that we don't get Fire and Flavor no more. Not that I don't think Tasha Steelz is totally capable of a singles run at championship caliber, by all means. I think what we've seen of her is only a glimpse. Well, what I don't think I know is what we've seen of her is just a glimpse. And I think that her signing is on par with Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly. When they all signed, it was just like, oh, they're bringing in heat. And not to say that the stable wasn't top tier or any of that sort. I mean, they were definitely one of the main catalysts of the Knockouts tag teams coming back. They rightfully so should have been the inaugural champions when they were brought back, and they have just been must watched. And them being the top has made a lot of other tag teams chase after them. So they're getting it. They've gotten that tag team division right. Kiera Hogan leaving is a huge loss for Impact, for the division, for Fire and Flavor fans, and so on. But I can't be mad at her wanting to, explore her options here. It just happens to just on one of their biggest nights. It's kind of like, oh man. So, I'm a little upset about that. That's what I'll say.
I mean, think about it this way. Where else could they have gone except for breaking up the team if Kiera would have stayed on? And for those who don't know, the rumors are, and it's been confirmed by Kiera, that she is leaving Impact after these tapings to pursue greener pastures, et cetera, et cetera. But what would have been the next step for them to inevitably feud? And then what? So I think what this does is speeds up the process of having Tasha pretty much just be on her own, which we've talked about because we've all seen her in various promotions. She's ready for the next step. I think they both are, to be quite honest. So I think splitting up the tag team inevitably was a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. They both deserve singles run. When you think about Deonna Purrazzo and her saying she cleaned out the whole division, she has not had the likes of either of them in the singles capacity for the championship. And we both know that. I mean, even somebody said last week, they said that Kiera Hogan deserves another run at the championship. They're not wrong. So it could have went either way. It could have just been diffused, and then ultimately, they go after it. But obviously, Kiera wants to see what's out there for her. Unfortunately, and I will say, Kiera Hogan going out, she's still very young. she will be interesting to see where does she go. So, good for her, and definitely good future endeavors because she's definitely top talent. So I just, now we just lose one of my favorite tag teams. That energy they bring out, I wanted to see it in person, man, and it's just unfortunate that it didn't have an opportunity to do so. But yeah, well, let's go to the main card now. Hopefully we can get Miranda in here. Well, I'll skip this first match because I definitely want to make sure we get her input while we work on her connection here. Matt Cardona and his mystery partner, what happens to be his wife, Chelsea Green, comes to face Brian Myers and Tenille Dashwood. Interesting enough, Chelsea Green, who I did not predict, but also thought was the safe answer here. It's because I went to ROH and she said she was hurt. And then I realized that, like, she said she cut the promo in a really weird way, but actually she basically was saying, I'm hurt, but I still can wrestle, but I can't wrestle in Maryland because Maryland Maryland Athletic Commission is very strict. If you all have been keeping up with their news with stuff with WWE and with AEW and whatnot, they're very strict, which is why a lot of shows don't come through Maryland. But so she does comes out and wrestle with a legit cast, and that picks up the win. But Chelsea Green, who has signed with ROH, who is working Impact, good for her.
Is she pulling another EC3 where she just basically gets to like go into every door she wants to at this point?
I mean,
seems that way.
I mean,
pay for appearance, if that's the new wave, if that's what she can do, because let's be honest, she is a little limited in the ring because of the wrist. If you've seen the match itself, which I perused through, obviously, but she needs to work around the limitations. Were we surprised it was Chelsea? No. I just thought it was a very interesting dynamic when we all talked about it last week, the potential of Chelsea, because it was Matt Cardona, Tenille Dashwood, who's his ex, Brian Myers, who out of storyline is one of his best friends, and then to bring in Chelsea Green to kind of, tie a bow onto that, I thought was, even though formulaic, still impressive nonetheless to see the hot mess back in Impact Wrestling. Yeah. To be honest, I think where she belongs, because that's where home is for her. Yeah. And why not have her team up with Matt? She's his, fiance. So it's like, hey, might as well go with the devil and your devil lives at your house. So yeah. It was fun for what it was. It was entertaining for what it was.
Yeah. So all right, hold on. I'm gonna address the comment in 1 second. Miranda is not going to be able to finish the show. She's having connection issues. So Damien G will carry out the rest of this show. We will have Miranda back next week. We'll try to work out our issues a little bit beforehand, just in case, to see what's going on.
Hashtag save Miranda. Hashtag save Miranda.
So Chelsea is not under contract with ROH.
So maybe it is a pay per appearance.
Okay. I mean, a long-term contract, a pay to, an appearance, or to just work the tournament, whatever it may be. I mean, she made it very clear that she came to ROH. I wish I could remember exactly what verbiage she used, but I'm pretty sure that she did say that she signed to ROH. And I guess I should just search this real quick while I get a chance. But either way,
even if she's in there as like, for now, as on a pay per, it's still good to have, again, a strong candidate thrown into the knockouts division. And I also think this is all setting up the NWA Women's Tournament eventually, but that's neither here nor there. But it's just good to have her back. And, the storyline with Impact now is that Tenille and Brian Myers broke up as a team as of last night. So I guess it served its purpose.
Right.
As a one-off?
So here's what I'm reading from Frightful Select, is that the deal was locked in a month before her appearance with ROH, and she's also set to do ROH commentary during the tapings.
That makes sense.
But as of right now, she does not yet have a... Wait, hold on. Let me make sure I read this right, because now a debut, a new report on her details of her contract status. More, Chelsea Green deal was locked in over a month ago, and that her blah blah blah. She got clearance from WWE in order to appear for tonight's show. Green was released. Blah 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 blah. Green is accept but as we know now, she does not yet have a contract with ROH. Okay, so that's super confusing. She's not under contract with Impact either. Okay, well, I mean, cool. And thank you for the input here. I'm not definitely wasn't saying that you were wrong. She cut this weird. I mean, if you watched the Best in the World, the promo she cut was super weird, and it was kind of like all over the place because to me, it thought that she was injured, that she was unable to compete, but she basically was saying she was throwing shade at basically Maryland, saying, "Hey, I can work, but I just can't work here." But yeah, much like I've been saying, or as Damien just said, she's working the EC3 narrative better than he was. So if she's not going to be exclusive to anywhere but collecting checks from both places, then good for her. And if she's working two different gimmicks, if she's working a hot mess in Impact, and she's going to just be Chelsea Green in ROH, then good for her. And right now, I think this is absolutely a good time for her to work wherever she can, as many places as she can. And I mean, if you got her husband who's also doing the indies, but also doing Impact, then why would she exclusively lock herself into one place? So, they keep the travel going. They came from Hawaii the week before they got back to Maryland. So, like, they definitely want to see the world instead of just being stranded in Florida for months and months after months, So, yeah. And like, I was like, what are you saying? Like, and you had to be really precise because it was like, we're excited that you're here because no one thought you would be at ROH and you're in the tournament. But like, what are you saying? You're in the tournament, but you are injured. But somebody else who was in the tournament also can't work the tournament because they were injured. What? But yeah, let's get back to Impact real quick. So the Ultimate X match came back, which was really exciting. Me and Miranda talked a lot about who we thought would win this match. It was a very hard match to predict. But as it appears, the safe choice was here in Josh Alexander retaining. Petey Williams worked his ass off as I thought he would. Rohit Raju was giving me exactly the vibes that I thought he would at the potential, like, oh, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. They all worked some insanely crazy spots, and I would love for them to run it back, all of them again. That was definitely the most exciting match of the night. But again, as I said earlier, the W. Morrissey and Eddie Edwards match was the most solid, and it did the most for me as far as me buying into W. Morrissey. Now, Finn Juice came back versus Madman Fulton and Shearer, which was a match that just kind of happened impromptu. It's because they need to insert that Finn Juice was back. This match was obviously just to add some more time. I mean, this match was 1 minute long, so that's that.
Right. It was basically throwing together, a squash match to reinvigorate and reintroduce Finn Juice back into the fold. And good. It served its purpose. And if you watched last night, you see that they came back around again to basically battle Fulton as well as Ace Austin. So, you know what? Someone posted on Twitter the other day. They said Finn Juice is being treated better at Impact than they are in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I laughed because it seems true on the surface. So it's just good to have diversity in Impact, and I think we throw this word around, Forbidden Door, but I don't really care. I'm glad to see talent where it belongs, and it's on our screens, and having Finn Juice in there. It just electrifies and energizes the division, the tag division. So more power to it.
Let me bring this comment back up. So talking about Fire and Flavor, I was at Slammiversary and the tapings. Congratulations. I wish I could have had the opportunity. Hopefully you had an amazing time. You have to see what's next for Tasha Steelz. You're going to like it. Look, sir, I'm cool with you spoiling this for me because I'm such a fan of hers that like I would love to know what she's going to do.
We're big fans of Tasha, so it's fine.
I'll take the spoiliness on that one. That's fine. The Good Brothers, the four-way tag match, the Good Brothers versus Violent by Design, Rich Swann and Willie Mack, followed by and No Way, formerly known as No Way Jose. No Way Jose coming out doing his exact same gimmick.
No.
I guess.
Essentially.
I don't like it because I say that anytime you leave WWE, this is a good chance for you first of all, leaving WWE, whether you were fired, released, or you didn't get your contract renewed, either way, you went out the door. And that's because of something you wasn't doing right there to thrive. And a lot of the time it's the gimmick. More so than none, it's the gimmick. And for him to leave, to completely wash the No Way Jose idea away on social media, his look, his colorfulness, and I know he knows capoeira and all of that. I get it, and it's definitely a skill that you want to use and probably repackage to a gimmick. But to completely come out and do the same exact gimmick was so deflating to me that I was just like, yeah, he definitely got a huge pop because it definitely was like forgot all about this guy. I get it. I definitely popped.
I forgot about him. So yeah, it works.
I like the guy. And you know, I'm not a person that always talk about people I met, but I have met him and he was ultimately really nice and normal. So I don't think that he doesn't have the physique, the look, the skills to be successful. I just think that when you go out and we'll just say on the indies, I think it's a good idea to try something new to kind of see where it works. Steve Macklin right now is thriving because of that. Eric Young, he's literally the best heel in wrestling, if you ask me. He came back and went back to his OG, but also repackaged it in a new way. It works. When you think about people like Drew McIntyre, he did the same thing. Went out, did something new. It got and was able to come back. It works. And I just think that this is one of the times where you're like, hey, man, what can I try something new? Should I do something different? You know, especially when it did not work for you initially. I mean, the No Way Jose thing in WWE was interesting for a while, and then it ran its course. And I think like
it had a ceiling eventually. So
yeah, and this one did too. Yeah, and maybe he, you know, he right now, although he's hurt, what he came out and started doing, I liked it because it was different. So maybe, you know, and he did come back initially doing his Heath thing, and then he watched it, and then, you know, so maybe that's what it's going to be. Maybe like hey, I'm gonna run this just so y'all know who I am, and then I'm gonna go back to something. But like, you know, we'll see. Definitely interested to see where it goes. I wonder if he's signed or was that just an appearance. Just to go back, Chris Sabin versus Moose. Very surprised that Chris Sabin picked up the win in the way he did. I don't know. I don't know the logic in this booking here. I don't know. I don't know what the rematch.
Unless the rematch is just to have Moose completely annihilate Chris Sabin in the rematch, that is the only way I see this being, you know, relevant. You know, to quote Simon Miller, using the most devastating move in all of pro wrestling, you know, the surprise roll up on Moose, because smaller guy beats big guy. That was a good way to kind of make it seem like it was memorable. You know, we always go back to, you know, and I'm not comparing the 1, 2, 3 Kid to Chris Sabin, but it was very similar to like you thought Moose was going to dominate, and then all of a sudden we have Chris Sabin winning on a fluke win, and then you know, moving forward, because the booking of Moose will continue to rise, he's probably going to destroy Chris Sabin, which will put him back on his regular trajectory, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm obviously looking for long-term booking here, so I'm just, you know, right now I'm just definitely have a ton of question marks. I got that Nick Young GIF in my head where he's looking at all the question marks floating around his head. That's literally me right now. Like I don't know. Deanna and Thunder, we talked about this a little bit earlier with Miranda before connection issues. Deanna, as we said, has bigger fish to fry going forward with the champion versus champion match in AAA. So it had to be somebody who could come in that has some notoriety,
some cachet,
that could just make a good match. Because beyond that, now you got the NWA thing going on here. So, you know, shout out to both of them, Thunder Rosa and Deanna Prazo, who are both having tremendous pandemic year in wrestling. Both of them are thriving. Thunder Rosa losing here did nothing, but Deanna Prazo beating her does something. So definitely, you know, a very entertaining match. Let me throw this comment up here. I like a good fun fact. I'm still waiting to hear what my Tasha Steelz think is. So fun fact, I got the VIP treatment in this match. When Moose hit Chris Sabin in the guardrail, that hit my knee 3 times. Like, all right, sir, I'm gonna have to put you on IR.
Wow, sir, you are taking bumps that you shouldn't be taking. Okay, let's just if you're this happened in Maryland, show, be careful.
if this would have happened in Maryland, they would have shut the whole show down. Just FYI, because Maryland don't play with this. All right, if you know, and even at the ROH show, they had the border, they had the barricade, and then a guardrail outside of it.
Right.
So it was like a moat around it. Like it was like you. By the way, the Briscoes, they was like, we're not abiding by that. We're definitely jumping that. So Kenny Omega beat Sammy Callahan. It was a good match, a no DQ match. Sammy Callahan worked his ass off. It's good to see that Sammy Callahan still may have some he will have some. He will still be a contender in a figure.
Yeah, the loss does nothing to hurt him, to be quite honest.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's always the thing that everybody puts Kenny Omega on the top upper echelon to being one of the best wrestlers in the world. Whether you agree with it or not, he definitely is one of the ones that everyone talks about. So Sammy Callahan being in his picture, working a good match, absolutely helps him, boosts his career. And he worked a good match. I think a lot of people are going to take him serious if you haven't been thus to this point and be honest. So, you know, good for him. It was a well-worked match. But it's the end that a lot of people are talking about with Jay White coming out, and he looks to be next in line for Thanos. So,
the belt collector, yes. I forgot what belt Jay White had. I had to be reminded of the fact that, first off, that he's still a thing, because we talked about this last night on Big Gold Belt podcast, where we were just like, wow, Jay White, okay. And, you know, I believe the feed cut on purpose when Jay White got into the ring to kind of stoke that, well, now you got to watch Impact to find out what happens next. You know, like on Dragon Ball Z, find out next time on the next episode of Dragon Ball Impact. But essentially that's what Kenny Omega is at this point. He's just one long drawn out Dragon Ball episode. But, you know, good for, again, Impact bringing in names, but also names that, you know, not just names like No Way, you know what I mean? But people who could actually, if they decide to put them in higher, you know, slots, sort of like Thunder, we can actually have Jay White wrestle Kenny Omega on an Impact show, which if you would have told me back in 2019, would we have Jay White, you know, pretty much wrestling Kenny Omega or even challenging him on an Impact show, you and I would have said, what in the hootie is going on? Because there's no way in hell that would have happened. But alas, here we are in 2021.
Yeah. Okay, folks. Here's what I'm gonna say. I do agree that the promo was absolutely too long. Thank you for joining the show today. Jay White is a name that people may know from New Japan. Before even New Japan, he's the leader of the Bullet Club. He is your never open weight champion.
Yeah, that one.
Exactly. And why this is interesting to me is because a lot of people don't know who he is, and this completely gives him exposure on the American territory that New Japan is trying to do as an entire promotion period. And if you got a champion who can work the American crowd, who can also ignite that interest that the Bullet Club once had to bring it back to New Japan, to also create a lot of momentum going into Wrestle Kingdom, this works. And the reason why this works is because the Never Openweight Championship it's just the title. Like, if he loses it, no one will be mad. It's clear, and I say this all the time, that Kenny Omega was begging Tony Khan, like, please give me somebody else. Get New Japan on the line. It's like New Japan don't want to work with us. They don't want to do nothing in that capacity. They don't want to sacrifice one of their champions for your gimmick that you're running, unless it's a title that no one truly cares about. I mean, to the point that I would not think it's off the table that Lance Archer somehow faces Kenny Omega for that title at some point. Because the titles that they really don't care about, not the IWGP heavyweight or intercontinental, maybe the United States heavyweight one, but not the ones of real importance. But this one works because it's a person who has some Japan notoriety to him. American people may know who he is. He's part of the Bullet Club, which was one of the hottest fractions of all time at a point. And it works with Kenny Omega and their story there because of that. So booking wise, this is fantastic because it works for everybody. This is a belt that if he loses, you're like, all right, cool, no problem. But it also opens the door. Does Kenny Omega ever gets back to New Japan and whatever it may be? So I like this for a lot of reasons. I think it checks all the boxes here, and it'll be really interesting to see Jay White work the American crowd because it's been a while. And maybe that's why he was a little bit like, maybe that's why it's promo. And like, I'm not a big Jay White fan, but I think this is time for him to gain fans and gain some momentum. And I think that I think this is definitely a good strategy going forward. Yeah, I'll be there. I will be there. So if you're going to be there, man, give me a shout, man. I will definitely be there for that. And again, I love how Impact is doing the forbidden door thing without it going around saying, "Look at us, the forbidden door."
They don't have to keep saying it. They're just doing it, and it's okay.
And I think by them marketing Bound for Glory in that fashion, it wasn't for Impact. It's for all the fans that didn't realize that they're doing this open door thing without them saying they're doing an open door thing. Now everybody's like, look at the promo. They're working with New Japan. They've always been working with all of these people. This is no surprise. Now, if ROH name got thrown in there somehow, that would be like, oh, excuse me.
Now we're interested, right?
But even still, there was some work. I mean, you could even say the Chelsea Green thing is kind of working with ROH because they got to be on the same schedule or conversation to know what each other's schedule is. So, Miranda will be there too as well. We talked about that. So, but I want to definitely premise by saying that Slammiversary was absolutely amazing. They knocked it out the park. I love what they're doing going forward. It looks like there's people that already know what's going forward by the 2 nights of tapings. I did read some of the spoilers, but I quickly washed it away. Chris Bay joining the Bullet Club. You can sign me up for that. Good for him. It's just a lot that's going on with Impact, and I think right now is a good time for people to make sure that you're keeping you're staying weekly invested in the storylines. The long-term booking is really, really good. Their stars are only rising, and whether you've been an Impact fan or not, I think a lot of people are gaining and claiming the respect that they deserve. Sammy Callahan being one. We all have seen Moose. The Good Brothers winning the Impact Champions again to go back to AEW to kind of show that they're working both and keep an eye out on what they're doing. The Bullet Club thing, Kenny Omega thing, they're just doing a lot to just get all different types of people going. And then even still, if you're not really hell bent on the serious wrestling and all that stuff, you got No Way Jose coming in with Fall Out Boy. You still got Johnny Swinger there. You got the entertainment act. And I mean, during the pandemic, they had this Wrestle House thing going on that was really entertaining, and they haven't had anything comparable to that. So if they're actually going to be bringing something of that caliber back for the fans that need a comedic relief of some sort doing all of the stuff, then good for them. Good for them. Probably in August we see Buddy Lee. Oh, okay, I like how you said probably, and that wasn't actually a spoiler.
Buddy Murphy. Okay.
I know for bringing in talent, Impact is looking to recent release for WWE people. If Impact ever wanted to go hardcore with them signing some Deep South guys, I mean, they're completely flexible. I'm still lobbying that Daniel Bryant will be in Impact. We'll see. But I just like what they're doing, and I think there's going to be a lot to talk about going forward with them. So,
imagine just imagine and fantasize for 2 seconds that Impact brings in Nick Gage, like AEW is bringing in Nick Gage. Just imagine how bonkers that would be if Nick Gage just runs the gamut and does all these promotions. That'd be great.
Yeah. Guess we got to see. We're gonna cut it here. Let me throw this up real quick. So just in case anybody who's not watching, the speech Scott D'Amore gave to Sammy Callahan at the Winning the World title match was so amazing. I wish they have aired it. Wow.
Oh, I didn't know it didn't air.
I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know. Yeah. Well, I want to hear that. I know it's got to be somewhere. People always got their phones out. Sammy Callahan is definitely one of the faces of Impact Wrestling. He definitely held his own. He definitely arose to the occasion. He was comfortable. He looked good. He worked his ass off. So Sammy Callahan has been one of my favorites. And, I really hope to see him work in high caliber matches like that going forward. And hey, he was next to Finn Juice. So, there's something to be made there. So, but yeah, we will cut it here. We will work out our connect. Damian, thank you for jumping in an emergency, my guy. We will work it out to get Miranda back next week. And we will have more to talk about because there's still a lot to really unravel from all of the things that came out of Slammiversary in this week's episode of Impact on AXS TV. So yeah, folks, definitely join us each and every Friday. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you know exactly when we're going to go live. And we'll be back next week to talk more Impact Wrestling. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in.
Big